Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with horse racing tips for Friday the uh-oh. Friday the 13th of September. Well, let's have a quick recap on Thursday. Well, it was unfortunate really. We had a non-runner. Grateful ran a decent race, didn't find anything towards the end. Golden West, I think there's more to come from that horse. If you watch it again, I think it actually ran a decent race, just was never really put in the race. Asked a question, stayed on, but was too far behind. And Percy Shelley, probably the same again, given too much to do. Finished, I think it was third in the end. Ran a decent race, but if it, well, I don't know. If it rode it maybe slightly different, could have been a different outcome. Maybe we might have challenged the winner, but not quite sure if we would have beat it, but we would have definitely finished in second place. Losing day, but I'm going to state roughly about the same again. So let's get into Friday selections. So keeping it simple still, it's two 5p each way lucky 15s. So basically it's a 10p each way lucky 15. However, in one of the 5p each way lucky 15s, I've taken the prices. In another one of the lucky 15s, the 5p each way lucky 15, I've left all the prices to SP. And then I've had 25p each way singles on all four selections. So the selections, the free horse racing selections are for Doncaster and Chester races. So let's get into it. So the each way lucky 15, the first selection is Queen's Road Review in the 140 at Chester. Well, this one's a tricky race because the Easterby family have got two in the race. They've got My Honeybee and this one. You've got this one that likes to not lead, but press the leaders, race prominently. Then you've got the other fancied horse by Mick Easterby that can either lead or travel strongly from behind. But I do like the look of this one because it's ran well on slower ground in the past. It's dreadful at Chester when the ground is heavy, especially, heavy. And tomorrow's ground is heavy, soft in places. They tend to shun the rail. They'll normally race mid-track, so you don't really see a huge benefit I don't think you really see a benefit from being drawn low unless you lead and you cut across like about 3 horsewidths off the rail. But this one's drawn 4, which I think is perfect. So this one should be up there throughout. It might even lead, and I was thinking, could it get an easy lead? Well, generally at Chester, you don't get an easy lead. So it's David Allen on board. It's a miss for me, David Allen is. But yeah, the first selection is Queen's Road Review. The second selection is Zaya in the 3 o'clock at Doncaster. This is the Flying Childers. So they're paying, 5 places instead of 3. Originally, I was going to back the more fancied Archie Watson horse, but I do like the look of this one because it's progressing nicely and it won its last race pretty readily, although this one is a big step up in class. It's drawn 4 and it made all, then hung last time. I think there's more in the locker. The more obvious selection would be Archie Watson's other horse. But I do fancy, because they're paying first 5, and with a bit of value, I think it's roughly about 14s or 16s at the moment. So I do think it's got a chance, and I do think it's on the improve. And I do like Archie Watson's 2-year-olds. I don't want to sound like cliche, but he does know the time of day with them. I hate that expression and all. The third selection is a very interesting one. It is Maharaja's Express in the 320 at Chester, paying 4 places instead of 3. This horse, my favourite jockey's on board. It's Dylan Hogan, so you know he's probably going to ride a stinker because he's one of my preferred jockeys. So this horse recently joined, and I've forgotten the stable. It's recently switched stables from Jack Jones to somebody else. You can have a look for yourself if you want, but it doesn't really matter. The fact is, this horse loves soft and heavy ground. It quite often races on the all-weather, and it's equally as good on both. What they've done is it's run 2 average races, and I think with the jockey booking of Dylan Hogan's never ridden it for this trainer, and he was a regular pilot when it was trained by Jack Jones. I believe this horse, it tends to travel towards the rear, but it travels powerfully. And although it normally runs over 5 furlong, this 6 furlong to me should be ideal for it. I think it will stay the distance. And the interesting angle they've got is this horse has wore cheek pieces in the past, but for a very long time recently it's wore blinkers. Well, it's now switched to cheek pieces. So that's an interesting take on it. So let's see what happens there. It tends to race quite keen, but I think as long as you can travel on heavy ground at Chester, sometimes you can get away with travelling a little bit too keen, unlike some other tracks. And the fact that it's ran and won well at Bath on heavy ground over 5 furlong gives me an impression that it should stay Chester's sharp 6 furlong, because Bath is a really tough track. It's an uphill finish and it's a very stiff 5 furlong. The fact that it won readily when it did win on heavy ground, or I think it was soft ground, I think it was heavy ground. When it won on heavy ground, it did pretty comfortably in the end, and I think it could easily handle this course, handle this track. And Dylan Johnston, no, he is a jump jockey. Dylan Hogan is back on board. The final selection is Blinky. Well, hopefully the video doesn't go off soon, but Blinky SP in the 520 at Doncaster, it's paying 4 places instead of 3. I think this horse is absolutely crying out for 6 furlongs, and I'm thinking that I think it's Charlie Hills. I always get confused. It's either Charlie Hills or Ed Walker that trained this horse, but ultimately it doesn't matter. It's the horse we're talking about. So Blinky, it was racing over 5 furlongs regular, and it used to run in touch, and it's ran in some top races for a 2-year-old. This horse, it was ridden by William Buick last time, and I'm thinking it wasn't quite outpaced, but it was slowly away, and it made decent ground. I'm just thinking that William Buick has maybe said he needs stepping up a furlong, and it was 11-4 favourite in the same kind of class last time. So I'm thinking this horse has got, I say potential, it's got ability. I do believe that Charlie Hills is very, like, what do you call it? Tactically aware? No, probably not the word. He's very switched on when it comes to placing his horses. He's got some very good horses, and this one, it's not one of the top of the tree ones, but it's certainly one that I think he can get probably a couple of handicaps out of it. It's only a class 4, so it's not like it's jumping into anything like just short of listed company. So, if you can give me a like or a subscribe, I really appreciate it. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.